Elvis was rushing between songs when he met a blind child backstage. What happened in the next 20 minutes proved that some miracles don't need sight, they need heart. It was August 15th, 1973, at the Nassau Coliseum in New York, and Elvis was in the middle of one of his most energetic performances of the year. He'd just finished an explosive version of Burning Love and was heading backstage for a quick costume change before his encore set. The backstage area was its usual chaos of crew members, security guards, and VIP guests. Elvis was moving quickly through the crowd, nodding politely but focused on getting ready for the final part of his show. That's when he nearly tripped over a small figure sitting quietly in the corner. It was a little boy, maybe 6 years old, sitting perfectly still on a folding chair, while everyone else backstage was moving around, talking and trying to catch glimpses of Elvis. This child was just sitting there, his head tilted slightly as if he was listening to something no one else could hear. What stopped Elvis in his tracks wasn't just the boy's stillness, it was the fact that he was clearly blind. Elvis immediately knelt down in front of the child, his costume change forgotten. "Hey there, little man," Elvis said softly. "What's your name?" The boy's face lit up with the biggest smile Elvis had ever seen. "You're Elvis, I can tell by your voice. I'm Tommy Peterson, and I'm 6 years old." "Well, hello there, Tommy Peterson," Elvis said, charmed by the child's enthusiasm. "What are you doing back here, all by yourself?" "My mummy brought me to hear you sing," Tommy said, his sightless eyes bright with excitement. "She's in the bathroom, but she said to wait right here and not move." Elvis looked around and noticed something that made his heart sink. Tommy was sitting in the one spot backstage where you couldn't hear the concert at all. The acoustics were terrible, blocked by equipment and concrete walls. "Tommy," Elvis said gently, "can you hear the music from here?" The little boy's smile faltered slightly. "Not really, but Mommy said the important thing was just being here where you are." Just then, a young woman came rushing over, looking panicked. "Tommy, I told you not to talk to anyone," she said, then stopped dead when she saw who her son was talking to. "Oh my God, you're Elvis Presley." "Yes, ma'am," Elvis said, standing up but keeping his hand on Tommy's shoulder. "And you must be Tommy's mum." "I'm sorry, I don't know your name." "Sarah Peterson," she said, clearly flustered. "I'm so sorry if Tommy bothered you. We're not supposed to be back here." The security guard said, "We could wait here for just a minute." "While Ma'am," Elvis interrupted gently. "How did you get backstage passes?" Sarah's face flushed. "We don't have backstage passes. We barely had money for the tickets. Tommy has never heard live music before, and I thought maybe if we could get closer to the stage." Elvis's heart broke a little. This mother had snuck backstage, risking getting thrown out, just to give her blind son a better chance to hear music. "Tommy's been blind since birth," Sarah continued, her voice shaking. "He loves music more than anything in the world, but he's never been to a concert before. When I heard you were coming to New York, I saved up for months to buy tickets. I just wanted him to experience something beautiful." Elvis looked down at Tommy, who was sitting there with that incredible smile, completely unaware that his mother was embarrassed or that they weren't supposed to be backstage. "Tommy," Elvis said, kneeling down again, "you said you love music. What's your favorite song?" "All of your songs," Tommy said immediately, "but especially Love Me Tender. Mommy sings it to me every night before bed." "She does? Well, that's one of my favorites too." That's when Elvis noticed something that changed everything. Tommy was moving his hands in the air, almost like he was conducting an orchestra. "Tommy, what are you doing with your hands?" "I'm feeling the music," Tommy said, matter-of-factly. "When I can't hear it clearly, I can still feel it in the air. The vibrations tickle my fingers." Elvis stared at this incredible child who was so determined to experience music that he'd found a way to feel it with his hands. "Mom," Elvis said, turning to Sarah, "has Tommy ever been close to a live performance before?" "No, sir. We can't usually afford concerts, and most venues, well, they're not very accommodating for children with disabilities." Elvis made a decision that would create one of the most beautiful moments in his entire career. "Tommy," Elvis said, "how would you like to come on stage with me?" Both Tommy and his mother gasped. "On stage? With you? Really?" Tommy's voice was filled with wonder. "Really? I want you to feel the music the way it's supposed to be felt." Right in the middle of it all, Sarah started to cry. "Mr. Presley, we couldn't, this is too much." "Ma'am, with all due respect, this isn't too much. This is exactly what music is for." What happened next was unlike anything that had ever occurred in Elvis's backstage routine. Instead of getting ready for his encore, Elvis spent the next 15 minutes preparing Tommy for an experience the boy would remember for the rest of his life. "Okay, Tommy, here's what we're going to do," Elvis explained. "I'm going to carry you out on stage, and we're going to sit at the piano together. You're going to put your hands on the piano while I play, so you can feel every note, and then you're going to help me sing for all those people." Tommy was so excited he could barely contain himself. "Will I be able to feel all the music?" "Buddy, you're going to feel music like you've never felt it before." Elvis turned to his band, who had been watching this interaction with growing amazement. "Boys, change of plans. We're doing something special for the encore." When Elvis walked back onto the Nassau Coliseum stage, carrying Tommy Peterson, the audience of 15,000 people didn't know what to expect. They could see that Elvis was carrying a small child, but they couldn't tell anything else from their seats. "Ladies and gentlemen," Elvis said into his microphone, "I want you to meet my friend Tommy Peterson. Tommy is 6 years old, and he loves music more than just about anyone I've ever met." Elvis sat down at the piano with Tommy on his lap. "Tommy has a special way of experiencing music," Elvis continued. "He feels it with his whole body. Tonight, he's going to help me show all of you what music really sounds like when you listen with your heart, instead of just your ears." What followed was the most emotionally powerful performance of Elvis's career. Elvis began playing "Love Me Tender" on the piano, and immediately placed Tommy's small hands on top of his own, so the boy could feel every key press, every vibration, every nuance of the music. Tommy's face was radiant with joy. For the first time in his life, he wasn't just hearing music. He was feeling it in his bones, in his fingertips, in his entire being. But then something even more beautiful happened. Tommy began to sing along. His 6-year-old voice, pure and sweet, blended with Elvis's rich baritone in a way that was absolutely magical. But more than that, Tommy was singing with a joy and innocence that reminded everyone in that arena why music mattered in the first place. "Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go." As they sang together, Tommy's hands moved from the piano keys to Elvis's chest, feeling the vibrations of his voice. Then he reached up and gently touched Elvis's face, as if he was trying to understand the person behind the music. The most incredible moment came during the second verse, when Tommy suddenly stopped singing and said into the microphone, "I can feel your smile when you sing." Elvis's voice broke with emotion, but he kept playing. "Tommy, can you feel how much music loves you back?" Elvis asked. "Yes," Tommy whispered, his voice carrying clearly through the arena's sound system. "It feels like hugging. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. But Elvis wasn't done creating magic. Tommy, Elvis said, "All these people came here tonight because they love music too. Do you think you could help me sing for them? Can they feel the music like I do? Let's find out. Tommy, I want you to help me teach them." Elvis began playing again, but this time he encouraged Tommy to conduct the audience. The little boy, still sitting on Elvis's lap at the piano, began moving his hands to the rhythm of the music. "Follow Tommy's hands," Elvis told the audience. "Let him show you how to feel the music." 15,000 people began moving their hands in rhythm with Tommy's conducting, and something extraordinary happened. The entire arena became united in this child's way of experiencing music. Not just hearing it, but feeling it with their entire bodies. What was supposed to be a simple encore turned into a 45-minute musical education led by a blind 6-year-old boy. Tommy asked Elvis to play different types of songs so he could feel the different vibrations. Slow songs, fast songs, gospel songs, rock and roll. With each song, Tommy would describe what he was feeling to the audience. "This one feels bouncy," Tommy announced during Jailhouse Rock. "This one feels like praying," he said during He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. "This one feels like my mummy's hugs," he whispered during Love Me Tender. Elvis and the audience were learning about music through the perspective of a child who experienced it purely through touch and emotion, without any visual distractions. The most profound moment came when Tommy asked Elvis a question that stunned everyone. "Elvis, why do people close their eyes when they hear beautiful music?" Elvis thought for a moment. "I don't know, Tommy. Why do you think they do that?" "Because they want to feel it the way I do all the time. They want to listen with their hearts instead of their eyes." The wisdom from this 6-year-old boy hit the entire arena like a revelation. "Tommy," Elvis said, "I think you just taught all of us something very important about music." Before Tommy left the stage, Elvis did something that became legendary. "Tommy, I want to give you something," Elvis said. He took off one of his signature rings, not one of his expensive ones, but a simple silver ring that he wore during performances. "This ring vibrates when I play piano," Elvis explained. "I want you to have it, so whenever you touch a piano, you can remember tonight." Tommy felt the ring carefully, then surprised everyone by reaching into his pocket. "I want to give you something too," Tommy said. He pulled out a small, obviously handmade bracelet. "I made this for you. Mommy helped me with the letters." The bracelet, made of simple beads and string, spelled out music =, love in childish lettering. "Tommy," Elvis said, his voice thick with emotion, "this is the most beautiful gift anyone has ever given me." Before Tommy left the stage, Elvis made a promise that he would keep for the rest of his life. "Tommy, whenever I perform anywhere in New York, I want you and your mum to be my special guests. Not in the audience right here, on stage with me. Will you help me make music? Really? Forever? Forever." And Elvis kept that promise for the next 4 years until his death in 1977. Whenever Elvis performed in the New York area, Tommy and Sarah Peterson were his special guests. Tommy became known among Elvis's crew as Elvis's musical consultant, and his insights about experiencing music purely through feeling influenced how Elvis approached his performances. The story of Elvis and Tommy Peterson became legendary, not just among Elvis fans, but throughout the music world. It was one of the first high-profile examples of making concerts accessible for children with disabilities. But more importantly, It changed how people thought about what it means to truly hear music. Tommy taught us that night that music isn't just sound, Elvis said in an interview later. It's vibration, it's emotion, it's connection. That little boy experiences music more purely than most professional musicians ever will. Tommy Peterson grew up to become a music therapist, working with children with various disabilities. He founded the Feel the Music program, which teaches children to experience music through multiple senses. Elvis showed me that night that having a disability doesn't mean you experience less, Tommy said in a 2020 interview. Sometimes it means you experience more. I feel music in ways that sighted people might miss because they're distracted by what they see. Tommy still has the ring Elvis gave him, and he still uses it in his work. When children feel hopeless about their disabilities, Tommy lets them hold the ring and tells them the story of the night Elvis Presley learned about music from a blind 6-year-old boy. The story of Elvis and Tommy Peterson reminds us that the most profound experiences often come from seeing the world through someone else's perspective. It also shows us that true inclusion isn't just about accommodating people with differences. It's about recognizing that those differences might offer insights and experiences that enrich everyone. That night at Nassau Coliseum, Elvis Presley was supposed to entertain 15,000 people. Instead, a blind 6-year-old boy taught all of them, including Elvis, a deeper truth about music, joy, and human connection. Tommy Peterson couldn't see Elvis Presley, but he saw something that many sighted people miss, that music is not just something we hear, but something we feel, something that connects us all in ways that transcend our physical limitations. And maybe that's the real miracle of that night. Not that Elvis was kind to a disabled child, but that a disabled child opened everyone's eyes to a more beautiful way of experiencing the world. If this incredible story of seeing the world through different eyes moved you, make sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Share this video with someone who has taught you to experience life in a new way. What have you learned from someone whose perspective was different from yours? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to ring that notification bell for more amazing true stories about the moments that change how we see the world.